did this the Cowboy Vittles way. Welcome back to another edition of Cowboy Vittles, a place you can call home. A place that you can go ahead and experiment with your taste buds. A place that you can go ahead and enjoy spending time with your family and your children in the kitchen. Now, I tell you what, we're going to have a tasty recipe for you today because we're going to go ahead and make up some German tater salad. And we're also going to have some bratwurst with that. Now myself, I'm only second generation American. My family originally came over from Germany, and I spent a couple of years over there as a young man, and I remember some of the things that I love to eat. Now I tell you what, come on over and let me show you what we're going to be doing and the ingredients you're going to need. Now here's the thing on German potato salad. You've got your northern, you've got your central, you have got your southern Bavarian potato salad, and they all have different recipes. But I lived in Frankfurt and Wiesbaden, you know, up in the northern section of the country. So I'm used to their flavor. This is what we're going to teach you. And everyone has their different ways of doing it. But what you're going to need is you're going to need your taters. And you can use, yes, you can use russets, you can use Yukon Golds, you can use white potatoes, but today we're going to be using red potatoes. I like them. Next thing you're going to need your onions. And again, you can use your different types of onions, but we're going to use red onions because it's got a little bit of a sweeter flavor on that. Next thing you're going to need 1 tablespoon of sugar. Then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. But here we go. That's what we need to get in there. We need to get some apple. We're going to go ahead and use a red delicious apple. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare that just shortly. Now you're also going to go ahead and need 1 cup of mayonnaise. Got to have that. Then we're going to use 1/4 cup of mustard. Then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. Then we're going to also, remember that pepper, you got to have that in everything. So we're going to use just 1 teaspoon of that, 1/2 teaspoon I should have say of black pepper, or even to taste. Some people like it a little bit more in there. Now the next thing we're going to do a handful of our parsley. We're going to chop that down just a little bit. Then you're going to need your pickles, and we're only using about 2 small ones that we're going to chop down really fine. Then guess what, folks? We got our boiled eggs, and I'm only using about 3 of them. Now these are just the things that we're going to need for the German potato salad. But guess what? Remember I told you how we were going to make some bratwursts? I've got 4 of them up there, and I know we'll probably make a couple more because got to have that with the German tater salad. You know, it goes all together. Well, now we've got our taters all peeled up. It's time to put them in the bath and get them going. Now I know if I put them in there with my bare hands, guess what? I'm going to get burned. So I'm going to use my tongs. Let's get them in there. If I can grab it out. There we go. Now these things only need to cook up in that boiling water for about 30-40 minutes because I don't want them to a point where I'm making mashed potatoes. I want them still a little bit firm because after we get done with all this, guess what? It's all going in the fridge to make it even more firm. Alright, I think the first thing that we need to get is our onion. Remember that red onion that I told you I had? I'm only going to be using about half that. Just go ahead and slice that down. There we go. Throw that off to the side. And let's get this bowl over here so we can start throwing our ingredients in it as we chop it up. That's about all the onion I think we need. And I think these are the right size. So let's go ahead and just throw that into the pot. Or in the bowl, I should say. Now, guess what? What we're going to do is we're going to take out that egg slicer. Let's get these eggs going. These egg slicers are awful handy. Let me show you. It's got them wires on the front. It's got the deals on the back. We're just going to go ahead and turn it that way. Then we're going to pick this up and we're going to turn it this way. And we're going to do it again. Look at that, folks. I tell you what, that'll go in good with your garden salad. It'll go good in your potato salad. Now let's just go ahead and pop that in there. Move that around. Now we got one more we're going to do. Now it's time to put that in there. That's just about the right size. We don't want them eggs all any bigger than we have to. We just want the flavor. Alright, we got all... Sorry about that, folks. That pickle was looking too good. I had to take a little snap off the end of it. Let's get this egg slicer off. Now it's time to go ahead and get the pickles going. I'm going to slice this right down the middle. 2 more times, because I don't want these things any bigger than they have to be. I just want the flavoring. Have to take a peek at them potatoes, see how they come along. Let's throw this in the bowl as well. Oh, there we go. All right, let's get this last piece of pickle done. I'm looking forward to having this with some of that Bratwurst tonight. And I know my wife and kids, they're going to love it. And that dog of mine, she's going to be sitting there going, got some for me. Alright, we got all that stuff in. Now let's get into our parsley. And you don't need a ton of it, you know, just enough to season it up a little bit. Again, we're going to use that uru. We're going to chop this up a little bit. Just about a handful is all you really need, in all honesty, for the amount of tater salad that we're doing. Get that up there and in there. Oops, almost broke my wife's bowl again. Let's get that. Let's get that off to the side. Now, we got just about a tablespoon of sugar. And you can use white sugar, you can use brown sugar, you can use whatever kind of sugar you want. And you can put as much as you want or as little as you want. You don't even have to use it if you choose not to. But we've got about a tablespoon of sugar. We're going to throw that in there. Then, remember that vinegar? We got to throw that in there. Alrighty, let's go ahead and finish up the rest of this. I got 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to throw that in there. Now, depending upon you, it's going to depend upon how much salt you want. You may want a little less, you may want a little bit more. Depends on the size of salad you're going to do. So let's get that out of the way. Now, remember a black pepper? You don't have to have it. Myself, I enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting a little bit of this in here. Come along. fine. Yes, I asked my wife to take that cap off for me before we started doing this because I'm blind as a bat, remember? And I can't ever figure out how to get them lids off. That should be enough. That's about a half a teaspoon. That'll do well for my family. Now let's set this off to the side for right now. It's time to get the next ingredient going. Remember that apple peeler? It's going to take the core right out of that apple. It's also going to peel it. Well, let's get this apple here cored up, and let me show you what we're doing here. Now, one thing about a lot of folks don't realize, you don't put the apple on the outside. You put it on the inside. Otherwise, it ain't going to do nothing for you. And see how that celery starting to peel? You've got the peeler right there. Let's get this going. See the core? It's still there, but we don't have to worry about that. And I want you to see something here, folks. Look at that. I can use that in my canning. I can use it for putting in my salads. I can use it for a lot of things. Okay. I tell you what, our taters are just about done. I'm going to have to stick a fork in them to make sure they're soft, but I'll do that in just a bit. In the meantime, remember them apples that we did up? Ooh, boy, oh boy, look at them. Let's get that off to the side. But see how they come out all spiraled and stuff? They have no core in them. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my ulu. Now we need to make it just a little bit smaller, just like we do everything. We need to get them put in the bowl because we got to get started with our bratwurst here pretty quick. And we also have to go ahead and put this in the fridge and let it, once the potatoes are done, that is. And we need to get them stiffened up just a little bit. There we go. Oh boy, I'm looking forward to this. And I know my kids are too. Oh, get out of here. That's a dog of mine. Okay, this part's done. Now, remember that meat that I was telling you about? The bratwurst? I've got this pan already heated up. Let's start getting them going. That way by the time everything is done, I'll be done. You can stick a fork in me at that time. Well, here's our bratwurst. We started off on high, but about halfway through we cut it down to medium. And we're cooking these things to the point that all the redness is out of it. But let's face it, you don't want to eat red meat unless it's steak. So it's about halfway done. It's been on here for about, maybe 10 minutes. And I reckon it'll take about another 5 to 8 more minutes. And then I take it off the pan, let it cool down, and then it's time to get everything going with our German potato salad. Well, the taters are done. Let's go ahead and get them out of this hot water. Let's set them down here on my cutting board. They need to cool off just a little bit. Then I'm going to start slicing them down. And yes, I tried one. And it was the perfect texture on it. Wasn't too hard, wasn't too soft. It was just right. Well, let's get this show back on the road again. I tell you what, our red potatoes, they're cool off enough. Now let's go ahead and start slicing them down. What we're going to do is, I'm bringing out the big boy. And then I'll use my ulu afterwards. Let's get out the ulu. Because what we want to do is, we want to take this and we're going to take them, we're not doing them square chunks like a lot of folks do. We're doing it the way I remember it back in the mid-80s. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw this into this bowl as well. You know, I hope you like my new hat. That was a present from my wife, because it was my birthday just the other day, and I made her work in the kitchen with me. But you know what? We enjoy that. Now take a look back here, folks. My wife doesn't want to take down them decorations, so we'll leave them up for a few more days as I continue to cook. Right, I tell you what, we just downed to our last 3 taters after this one, and we're going to go ahead and throw that in there. Now the reason that we didn't put bacon in there, crispy bacon, is because of the fact that, well, we got bratwurst here. We don't need more meat into it, you know. Let's get this done here. Now we're almost done with our bratwurst. Now as far as the tater salad, oh boy. You know, some folks, they like to put it in the fridge for 2 or 3 hours, let it stiffen up, and let everything come together. Others, they like to have it served up warm. I'm hungry. I'm going to go ahead and eat it warm. Alright. We got all our taters done. Thank goodness. That's a lot of work for me. Now, remember that mustard I told you? We don't want a whole lot. We don't want it to be overpowering. So what we're going to do is bring this bowl out here. Oops. I just made another mess. Crud. Let's set that off to the side. Now you remember that mayonnaise I was telling you about? Well, we're going to throw that in there as well, and I bet I'll make another mess again. That's alright, my wife will help me clean it up. I'll be a little more careful this time, Needy. I'll get my finger in there and get the rest of it out of there. And yes, folks, I do have my gloves on. Get that out of the way. Now let's get this on my cutting board. Let's get the spoon and get it ready. And that dog of mine is still knocked out. That's unusual because anytime I cook, she's like right there by my feet. And I don't understand it. Must be this weather. Heck with it. I can't wait. I gotta get into it and chomp on some of this. But I know what you mean. Muy delicioso, as they say in Spanish. I've made this a lot of times over my life. And I ain't waiting for my meat to get done before I try it. Oh yeah. I gotta have another little piece there before I get that meat out. Oh, I'm in seventh heaven right now. Yep, that's what German potato salad tastes like. Oh, so I guess I gotta put that off to the side. Let's go ahead and get this meat off here and start getting them sliced up. Now, a lot of folks, they like to take their meat and they like to cut it straight down. Nah, me, I like a nice presentation. And I use my big boy because it's sharp. And I take it at a 45-degree angle. I gotta have a bite of that. Just the empties. I gotta take another taste of this. Let's see how this is. I like bratwurst. And I'm going to make up a couple more after we get done with what we're doing now. Well, we've got to the end of this. This is the final chapter, the end of our recipe that we've been preparing for you, that we know you're going to love. If you ain't hungry right now looking at that, something's the matter with you. Because I tell you, that is some really good vittles. Cowboy Vittle way. You know, before I start talking again, I gotta have me another bite of this tater salad. And my wife is standing behind the camera telling me, move on, move forward. But you know what? I'm going to have me another piece of this bratwurst because it's good too. Yes, Nene, I'll go ahead and get started in just a moment. Now, heck, just put it right there in front of me. Now, if you, I'd like to thank you for coming to Cowboy Vittles today. If you like our recipe, if you wanted to experiment with your taste buds, I want you to go down below and I want you to click on the like button. I want you to click on the subscribe button so you can get more of our recipes. Trust me, we got a whole lot more to come. Follow us on social media. I guarantee you, your taste buds are going to go out of this world with some of them things that I create that I know of for the last 59 years. In the meantime, you want to wish me happy birthday? Cowboy Vittles, come and get 'em.